This is what's going to be the thing that changes your hips. Now, a lot of mobility coaches keep talking about CARs, controlled articular rotations. They're very important, especially for ball and socket joints, the hip and the shoulder. But CARs are super complicated. I tell people all the time, I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, but sometimes I feel like a white belt when it comes to being a mobility coach because there's just so many little nuances here. Here's a big game changer for me when it came to my hip CAR. Now, a lot of jiu-jitsu athletes want to do like lots of heavy squats, lunges, deadlifts, and these are all great, but they kind of build your strength in one plane of motion, and having that strength transfer over to the mats is a different story. With jiu-jitsu training, we need to be able to harness our internal, external hip rotation. That's what's gonna make us have a tight squeeze, not necessarily a heavy squat, but good access to strong controlled rotation over a long period of time. Now, we're back to talking about the hip CAR. Now, hip CARs are complicated, as I was saying. Here's the game changer for me. So we go through our standard hip CAR on the wall. I get nice and tall. I radiate a bit of tension. I come up into hip flexion. Everyone's always good at this hip flexor march here, and usually quite good at abducting out to this point here. Now, when I get to this point here, I need to start to create this internal rotation. But usually if I'm too high, more than likely, especially if this is my first time, I'm gonna get a lot of compensation in the hip there. So to avoid this, what I'm gonna do is come up into my hip flexion, come out into my abduction. Now from here, I'm going to drop the knee and the foot and abduct more. Drop the knee and the foot and abduct more. And you'll find from this position, now it's so much easier for me to produce this internal rotation without having my whole hip chunk over. So I get to my spot, I get my internal rotation, and now I can start to catch with the hamstring back into extension. As I wrap around, the cue I think about is bringing my knee to my armpit and coming back around. So everyone's usually pretty good at everything but that transition, so we'll talk about the transition one more time. Hip flexion, hip abduction. Drop and abduct more, drop and abduct more. You'll feel your glute med fire here. That's a good cue to start to produce this internal rotation.